Hey everybody, it's me, the real KBC. Now, side characters can be very important. It may not seem like it, but they actually do play a pretty important role in the story and even the world that they inhabit. They can be pretty fun additions to the cast and even sometimes be more important to the main character and even help out flesh the world. The world in which they're a part of course. Now, um, there are a lot of actually good side characters out there, but of course there are also some not so good side characters out there. And it may not seem like it at first because half the time side characters are usually tossed to the wayside. Um, at least that's what it seems like. There are multiple times where side characters aren't really tossed to the wayside, but it seems like there are more times where they're just forgotten about and just become background characters. Um, but as it turns out, there are actually a lot of actually good side characters. And sure, while most of them do just end up getting forgotten about and end up becoming background characters, at the same time, like I said before, side characters are incredibly important because they can actually help make the world that they inhabit seem much bigger than it really is. There's lots of stories where side characters are just as important as the main character. One of them being Avatar: The Last Airbender, for obvious reasons. Now, Avatar is, if we're being honest here, one of the best cartoons. I wouldn't say it's one of the greatest cartoons of all time necessarily, but it's definitely one of the best cartoons out there. Um, the sidecast is really good. Like seriously, the sidecast for Avatar is deep, one of the best. Right, one of not, okay. So like I said before, Avatar has a really good cast of side characters. And most of them are fairly memorable, even though most of them actually do have a small role to play in the story, but not a huge role, which is fine. Not every side character needs to have a big role in the story. A couple of them can have small roles, an episode or two here or there, and but and basically do their own thing, be left to their own devices, so on and so forth. All that stuff. Um, though in my opinion, some of the best side characters are usually the ones that have decently interesting stories and actually do manage to stick out um, compared to characters that are just in the background and don't really do much and, just have a couple lines. Um, the actually important side characters, because there are important side characters, but there are not so important side characters. Those are the side characters that end up being forgotten about. And um, like I said, for Avatar: The Last Airbender has some of the best. And honestly, there's a lot to choose from. There really are. Um, but I would definitely say that Boomy is one of the best side characters. If you remember, Boomy, he was the Earth, right? He was the Earth King. Um, well, rather the real Earth King. That was a whole thing there. If you've seen Avatar, then you know what I mean. It's a bit of a long story, and I don't remember everything, so I'm not really gonna try to explain it here. But um, in in Avatar, there's this character known as Boomy, and at first he seems like a frail old man, but he's actually pretty strong, and is a really good bender, even in his old age. I think he's like at least 100. I say that because in the story of Avatar, they point out that Boomy and Aang used to be friends when they were kids. However, if you remember correctly, he's 112 at the beginning of the story because he froze himself for 100 years back when he was a 12-year-old. So yeah, and Boomy is somehow still alive. He's just much older, meaning that, like I said, he's 100 something years old, and right, and he's one of the very few friends of Aang that's still alive, since most of them ended up dying 100 years ago. But um, not only is he just a really good friend to Aang, but he's also a really good teacher to Aang. He teaches Aang that not everything can be solved with just one solution. like something, or sometimes just waiting or being patient can actually be the perfect solution for a problem, even if it may not seem like it, which is why Boomy usually lies dormant and wait for his time to strike. Um, right. And like I said, he basically teaches Aang that there's multiple ways to go about things. There's multiple strategies that you can use. You don't really have to use just one solution. And he's only one example of a side character, an important side character, of course. Um, there are others like Krillin from Dragon Ball, um, Goku's best friend, and now Family Man, right? Has a daughter made to a hot wife, yada yada yada. You've heard this story before. Krillin is much stronger than he appears, but he's also fairly wise beyond his years. Has a good amount of experience about him, and actually could make a really good martial arts teacher, if we're being honest here, if he was given a chance. And, of course, right now he's a cop, and he's actually doing a pretty good job. Yeah. The reason why I see Krillin as a really good side character is because not only is he a really good friend to Goku, but he's also a really good friend slash mentor to Gohan. Um, sure, Piccolo is a better mentor, but if we're being honest here, Krillin, again, is a really good buddy to Gohan. And again, like I said, is even a bit of a mentor to him. Not to mention, he is also one of the not to mention the fact that Krillin is also one of the strongest mortals. I'm not gonna say he's the strongest. That's a debate that's gone on for years and years in the Dragon Ball fandom. And frankly, I don't want to get into that ridiculous debate. But Krillin is definitely one of the strongest. It may not seem like it, but he's stronger than he appears. He can actually fight with the best of them, if we're being honest here. I kind of wish he was given some better material at the time, but honestly, he's actually still a decently written character. They make fun of him way too often, and he's become a bit of a bit of a joke a bit too often. Not as bad as Yamcha, but still. Other than that, Krillin is still mostly respected. He's a really good martial artist, a really good friend slash mentor. Could be a really good martial arts teacher. Is a family man um, and a beloved one at that. Is a really good cop. Um, Honestly, I'm not sure what else to say about Krillin, man. He's just a really good side character. He has right. While he's not as important as Goku, he's definitely had his moments. He's definitely been important here and there, and even when the spotlight is shined on him, even if he doesn't do his absolute best, even if he isn't always 100% all the time, honestly, he's still pretty good if we're being honest here, right? And that's another thing I like about Krillin. He actually does try his best. He knows he's not the strongest or the fastest or the smartest, but he still does try his best. He's not really as cowardly as he may seem. He's way braver than he appears. If we're being honest here, but yeah, he's not crazy. He has common sense, and he will back out he if he really has to. But yeah, um, what do you think about side characters? Do you like them? Do you not like them? What are your favorite side characters? Please say so in the comments. Also, what are your least favorite side characters? That too. Um, Also, do not forget to check all the important stuff. It's in the description as per usual. And if you want more of me, then you know exactly what to do. I won't hold your hand through the process, and we'll king out. Have a nice day, people.